start recording.
And I also got Blaze.
Good morning and welcome.
Joseph will be in the waiting room, so I'm gonna admit him in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Gotta read my script. Okay. Okay, good morning and welcome to the Hawaii State Ethics Commission. Today is August the 21st and the time is now 9:01. Just a couple of administrative announcements. First of all, if you have cell phones, please turn them off. And if you want to be recognized, especially those on WebEx, please raise your hand so I can recognize you before you speak. I believe we should have a roll call. And if you are alone, please indicate that you are alone.
Commissioners, would you mind introducing yourselves in the public hearing room, starting with Vice Chair Tobias?
Good morning, I'm Beverly Tobias, and I'm Vice Chair of the Ethics.
Good morning, Cynthia Thielen, Commissioner.
Morning, Robert Bonk, Commissioner. And I'm Wesley Fong, the Chair of the Commission. And
turning to folks that are on the Zoom, starting with Key.
Present and alone.
Jared.
Present and alone.
Patrick.
Present and alone.
Juanita.
Present and alone.
Barbara.
Present.
Barbara, if you can hear me. We'll do a thumbs up. Okay, we'll circle back to you. Jennifer.
Present and alone.
Nancy.
Present and alone.
Jody.
Present and alone.
And Blaze, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. Hi, Blaze Level of Civil Beat here. I'm just watching the meeting.
Thank you for participating. Barbara, are you present and alone? Okay, we're not hearing you. If you can go ahead and just give a thumbs up if you're present and alone. Perfect, thank you. Chair.
okay, thank you. Since we do have a member from the public, I'll have to read this. For any members of the public who may be joining us remotely, if the Commission's video conference connection is lost during the meeting, we will recess the meeting and reconvene after our connection is restored. Please check the Commission's website, which is www.ethics.hawaii.gov, for information about reconnecting to the meeting. If the meeting is continued to a later date or terminated, information about this will be posted on our website. Okay, I noticed we do have someone from the public joining us. Okay, first order of business, status of the new commissioners. A new commission?
Chair, this was put on the agenda perhaps optimistically. We have not received notice that the Judicial Council has passed on the statutorily required 2 names of the governor. So the process is still at the Judicial Council. I have sent inquiries and have not heard back from them. I will note that we first requested the appointment back in January, so it has been quite a long time. But in consulting with some of the staff with experience, they've said that we've sometimes had waits up to 2 years in the past. So we're still ahead in that regard, but it is becoming a bit of a concern. And so we will continue to kind of reach out to Judicial Council and make sure the process is doing whatever we can to try to help the process.
Thank you. 2 years. Any questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the audience? Okay, I want to thank all of the commissioners who are here. Please don't go anywhere for the next 2 years. Anyway, okay, next is the consideration or approval of minutes of July 17th. Any corrections? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of July 17th, 2024?
I so move.
Moved by Commissioner Thielen, second by Commissioner Tobias. Questions? All in favor? We need a roll call on this.
I think for the minutes, it might be easiest.
All right, roll call.
Starting with Vice Chair Tobias,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen,
Aye.
Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, the motion's carried and the minutes are approved. Let's see, Director's report.
Thank you, Chair. If I can turn over the first section to Benita to cover education and training.
Good morning, Commissioners. In terms of the education and training, we have updated all our information for the board training status. We'll be providing updated information in the quarterly report next month. We've also received agency responses. So we also want to say thank you to DHERD for providing assistance in that respect and all the different agencies that have responded. Again, we'll be compiling that information for next month in terms of where we are in the progress. In terms of the remaining of the year, we have already scheduled lobbyist training session in December in anticipation of the new biennium. This year coming up, all lobbyists will be re-registering or renewing their registrations and having to take training if they haven't done so. So we expect a lot of traffic in terms of our training activities for lobbying. And then we also will be offering our standard training in January at the start of session for lobbyists as well. There will be additional trainings for legislators because with the election year, we anticipate new legislators coming on board. So we'll be having mandatory training for them. So for the rest of the year, we have our program plans kind of laid out, and we will be reporting updates next month.
Any questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the audience? Next.
Just as a reminder to the commission, the new law has gone into effect requiring all lobbyists to take an ethics training before they can register. So that's, again, first time we'll have to effectuate that, especially with the. If I can ask Ian to address the guidance and assignment statistics.
Sure. July was another month for us. 34 complaints filed with our office, 41 complaints closed. So as with June, we continue to close more complaints than we get, and then also process the existing complaints. So again, moving along at a good clip.
Thank you, Keith. With regards to miscellaneous office projects and updates, I would like to note one of the office improvements we completed is installing soundproofing and a white noise machine, both in our conference room and a office that's adjacent to our neighbors. That's mostly to address issues of confidentiality, make sure that discussions aren't necessarily overheard unintentionally. And I think it's a necessary improvement. After renovating the office, it seemed like sound is carrying far more than it had been previously. So hopefully this will maintain the confidentiality of those discussions that should be confidential.
Easier. Testing, here.
Are we back online?
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't lost anybody. No, I don't see it. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Staff have been busy at work on updating our administrative rules, particularly focused on some of the different issues that have been brought up to staff since the passage of our last rules, as well as trying to create enforcement mechanisms to some of the new laws, such as nepotism, that have gone into effect. Our hope is to start bringing proposed revisions in chunks to this commission starting the next month or two. There will be multiple opportunities for the public and stakeholders to have engagement on these revisions. But the first intent would be is to get the commission's feedback, any concerns, policy directions, et cetera, before we keep moving on in finalizing language that would then go through both Attorney General review, go up to public hearing, get more comments. It's an elaborate process, but we intend to first start with making sure the commission is content with where the direction is going on this rule revisions. I would also like to note that we had a bill signing. It was more of a ceremonial picture-taking opportunity because the bill had already been signed. I'd like to thank Chair Fong for being there present. And we had most of our staff present as well. You can share those photos online. It was quite a nice event, and it was nice to be able to recognize all the staff that helped work on getting some of these bills passed. Glad we got a chance to do that. And then on a personal note, I will note that I am going to be on vacation during our October meeting. And I would recommend that we just go ahead with the meeting as is, and that either Key or Benita can run the meeting to my extent, but we would like to give the commissioners an opportunity to decide how they want to do that as well. We can talk about that procedurally again, it doesn't matter whether or not we leave the meeting, but be my recommendation is to leave the meeting as is, and that full confidence the staff be able to handle my absence.
Okay. Let me make a comment before I ask any questions. First of all, I want to thank the staff and also Robert for being up with the governor and the signing of that bill. I think it was a very important bill. And the reason why is because actually now that bill gave the commission teeth. The fine now is up to $5,000 per offense as opposed to $1,000, which when I first joined the commission, I thought it was quote unquote a joke, $1,000 fine per offense. You get a $50,000 bribe in 5 different increments, and you can only, charge them $5,000. So this will give us teeth, and I really appreciate that. And it was nice that all of the staff came up to take that picture. And thank you, Robert. I'm glad I made that recommendation because now we can go forward and make sure when we enforce the ethics laws, it means something in your pocketbook. So thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? From the staff? From the audience? If not, thank you. Moving right along, media reports.
So as a reminder, particularly for members of the public, this is a standing topic agenda item, giving the commission an opportunity to talk about recent media topics of interest affecting either the commission or ethics in general. At the last meeting, we talked about making sure commissioners had access to articles. And so again, in full transparency, we've set up a Google alert with the key term of Hawaiʻi State Ethics Commission. And all the commissioners are now receiving that. The public can do the exact same thing and see the same articles. We are also looking at ways to post links to the articles on our website and maybe do somewhat of a historical look back just to be able to capture some of the history. And then we'd probably narrow this agenda item to be essentially limited to those linked articles so the public can see what's going to be discussed. The intent would not be to gatekeep the articles, even if they say something unfavorable or something we don't agree with, the idea would be they're there, fair for conversation, but rather it would be to create a defined list of this is what, is open for discussion versus we've had at least one person propose talking about something that wasn't in the media under this agenda item, and the idea is no, should be defined that the public has full visibility of what's going to be discussed or not discussed. Briefly looking at some of the recent articles that came out, there is an article focused on the Maui Board of Ethics and a proposed advisory opinion and enforcement action against a employee that allegedly is directing contracts to family members. So good to see the Maui Ethics Commission active and try to be proactive and identify issues. There was at least one article on campaign things where I was quoted where a campaign sign was posted in what appears to be a government building. However, it was privately leased and it was a private store that was posting the sign. And I think, again, under our rules, we'd say it's not a problem as long as it's under the control of the private store. It's no longer considered technically state property. And then there was at least one article addressing the economy matter, and then a number of different campaigns. Commissioners, if any of you would like to talk about any of these articles, happy to do so.
Any questions or comments from the? I think that the posting has been very helpful. It's been very educational, so I appreciate it.
And a lot of the stuff that we talk about, plus stuff we didn't talk about, is in there, and I think it's very relevant, and I'm glad to get it.
Any questions or comments from the audience? Okay. Actually, I'm personally pleased, or actually happy that Maui Ethics Commission now hopefully would have a staff, an executive director and a staff, and the city council has given them, I guess, some money to get that staff. And for your information, Robert and I did submit testimony, hopefully helped. Yes, I did. So now they have teeth. So I'm very happy with now other counties have the same luxury that we have as a staff along with Honolulu Ethics Commission. So it's good to hear. Any other comments, questions? Okay, moving along. Discussion of ethics oversight of judicial branch.
We did receive an update from the judiciary indicating they are going to issue proposed rules. The public will have an opportunity to comment on, and that they will notify us. We can similarly notify the public these rules are open for comment discussion. We have not seen the draft of these rules, and I don't think we'll have an opportunity to see them before they go out for public hearing, but we can participate just as the public would and give our comments and suggestions on them. I believe they were proposing a circulation date of September, but that's from them.
Great. I'm glad they're doing something. Comments or questions? Yes.
Can we keep the item 5, the discussion of ethics oversight of the judicial branch, on our agenda as this moves forward, so we will have a vehicle?
Sure. Any other comments, questions? From the staff? How about from the public? Any questions? Next, item number 6, National Conference of State Legislatures regarding state level restrictions on high-level government employees participating in political fundraising. That's a mouthful.
Chair, this was a request of Commissioner Thielen, looking more broadly at the pay-to-play concerns of whether there is examples in other states where they have prohibited certain government employees from participating in political fundraising. We did reach out to the National Conference of State Legislators, or NCSL. They were very helpful and very friendly. And unfortunately, they came back with research after the Sunshine Agenda had been submitted. So we cannot share that with you yet, but we can definitely circulate it after this meeting and put it on the agenda for next meeting for discussion. If I can orally just categorize a number of the states that we have a fair treatment law, which is general. And when our legislature is one of the first states ever to pass some of the ethics code and ethics law. So we were sort of the first model. our legislature deliberately wanted our laws to be general in order to give the commission flexibility in administering them. And part of the intent of that was they didn't want to lose employees because of an overly rigid interpretation of the law, but they want the commission to be able to have some flexibility. Over the years, our fair treatment statute has been interpreted. So, for example, it's fairly clear in our training and everything, everybody is well aware that they cannot conduct political campaigning on state property or exert their state position in order to get campaign contributions. A number of the states that the NCSL came back with had language that's much more specific, very specific laws saying you can't campaign on state property. Again, I don't know if it's anything different than what we have, but it is specific in law. My recommendation, probably after looking at these different states, is potentially to put some of this language in our rules and not try to revise our statute. The concern I have with revising our statute is if you start being specific in some areas, the presumption is anything you weren't specific about is now ignored. And so I'd be worried about trying to shove everything in statute. However, we can probably put more specific language in our rules and make it public and visible. The one state that potentially we should take a greater look at, and again, we'll have the materials for next week and next month's meeting, we can look at it more closely, but just to draw your attention to it, is New York. New York has some language specifically prohibiting employees from giving a contract based on political affiliation or campaign contributions received, and can't give or deny based on that. And again, that's an ethical restriction on the employee. It would not necessarily cover the contractor, which, I think our jurisdiction really is more on the employee itself. And so I think that's appropriate. And it's something we can look at. And I do believe under our fair treatment statute, we could probably add that to the rules as well. And that would, I think, somewhat address what Commissioner Thielen had been raising.
David? Commissioner Thielen, any comments or questions? Your baby.
It's hard to do it when we have subject matter, but not the details. So next month, and you won't be here.
No, I will be here next month.
Oh, you will. I'm sorry.
September, I'll be here. October.
Okay. All right. So next month, this will be on the agenda, but it'll be fleshed out.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Okay, great.
And right. Doing it by expanding the rules seems to make sense as long as we have but not limited to language in there, of course. But I'm still not sure that we have learned whether any other state is dealing with the situation where a high-ranking government employee who has the authority to award or influence contracts participates actively in fundraising activities. And that's where I want to make that unethical. And I'm not sure, I mean, you can't really go into that now, but if you feel fair treatment law is broad enough to be able to put in a prohibition for that, we can look at going that way.
Again, so looking at the NCSL research, I don't think there is any example that's specific to what you're describing. Generally, they are talking about activities on state property, on using state time, or how you can coerce or use your position to encourage people to give or not give. And those are all things I think we already have the framework for, we already do, but we can be a lot more specific about it, be a lot more upfront. But I don't think there's anything that's specific to the idea that you propose.
This one's kind of a switch on the using your position to say, get the contractor to donate. This one is where you're doing that in a way, but you're bringing people in. As I recall the article, the brown bag article, you're bringing people in that you know are the big money players, and you, a government employee who are responsible for giving contracts out, you're bringing those people in for the purpose of holding a fundraising event.
Yeah,
There's got to be a way that that becomes unethical.
so
Or
I,
it is unethical. There's got to be a way that we can label this.
so again, I think my recommendation would be the same one from past meeting, which is.
Can you speak up a little bit because I can't hear?
Sure, I think my recommendation would be the same as last meeting, where I recommended we really focus on the contractor supporting the campaign spending commission's bill to prohibit the contractor, employees, and principals from making campaign contributions. And I think that's a lot easier to regulate, and it effectively would prohibit them from donating. So essentially you're shutting down those fundraising activities.
Okay, I can understand what you're saying, and that's fine doing that, but I don't think that should be exclusive. I think we need to look at the high-ranking government employee who has the authority to award a contract or influence that award of the contract. And that person should not be actively involved in fundraising, political fundraising.
Can I interrupt real quick? We have a time straight here. We said 10 o'clock, we have a
Oh,
hearing.
all right.
So maybe we can wait until the next meeting, then we can really discuss it in depth, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Yes.
Just one quick question, Chair. The Campaign Finance Committee, what is their, do they have anything that they're contributing to this, or are we partnering with them, or?
We've had a number of conversations with them. Their preference is to support their bill prohibiting officers, owners, principals from donating into making political contributions, and that's their focus. When we raised the idea of sort of what Commissioner Thielen's proposing, they were pretty resistant, in part because they just were concerned about enforceability. But how would they know if someone is at a fundraiser is involved or doing something? I don't know if that's a reason to not support the bill or go for it, to be clear, but I think they thought their bill was a lot cleaner and more on point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioners?
We will have this summarized, right? For the next week. Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? How about from the staff? How about from the public? Questions, comments? Okay, thank you. We'll wait till the next meeting and we can discuss it in depth. Next is item number 7 is the University of Hawaii Professional Assembly and the Board of Regents.
Chair, this is a matter that we're going to recommend taking some action on. I think because it involves the duties and obligations, I'd recommend going into executive session, discuss this matter. If the chair and commissioners are willing to do so.
With that, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn into executive session.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tobias, second by Commissioner Hahn, that we now go into executive session. We need roll call, or should we just show of hands?
Let's do roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Starting with Vice Chair Tobias.
Aye.
Commissioner Hall or Commissioner Thielen.
Aye.
Chair.
And chair votes aye, no objections. Motion is carried. We are now in executive. Okay, thank you for allowing us.
Is there anybody in the waiting room?
No, Blaze left.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your patience. Having discussed the matter, is there a motion in regards to the University of Hawaii Professional Assembly versus the Board of Regents? That's right.
Now, would you want me to,
Just make a motion.
okay, so moved. I move to approve the commission's involvement as appropriate in the UHPA Board of Regents matter.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved in second. Now, before we take a vote, I believe there was some question about maybe a conflict of interest. I'll let Commissioner Hong first.
As I served as a professor of medicine and was a member of UH Professional Assembly and wanted to know potential conflict of interest.
Responding briefly, under the ethics code rules for conflict of interest, it typically would look at a financial interest in a private business, having an involvement in another government entity, or being employed by another government entity would not rise to conflict of interest in the ethics code.
Okay, at the same time, I do teach at the University of Hawaii. I teach law and ethics in the Schuyler School of Business. I don't think I have a conflict. Definitely, they don't pay me enough, but but I'll just make that known. And would that be?
I think it would be the same analysis that you're simply under the ethics code anticipating you're going to be looking out for the state's best interest in either position.
Okay. Commissioner,
I have a potential conflict. When I was running for office during the 30 years, sometimes UPA endorsed me and sometimes they didn't. But that was my connection with them.
Again, I don't think that would rise to a conflict of interest.
okay,
I
thank
have
you.
no comment.
Oh, you too? You're
I
okay?
have no comment.
You don't know about okay, okay. Thank you very much, everybody. With that, there is no conflict of interest that we can check and see. Ready for the vote? Any discussion, first of all? Ready for the vote? Okay, roll call.
Starting with Vice Chair Tobias,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen,
I
Chair.
Chair votes aye, no objections, motion is carried. Okay, and last thing on the agenda would be the, oh my gosh, Kana.
Commissioner, there is a Chair Commission, there is no update. We are still waiting for the Supreme Court to rule after the law.
So we're still waiting
So,
and crossing our fingers. That's good. Is there anything else that we have under sunshine? Meeting? Entertain a motion that we adjourn.
so moved.
Moved and
Second.
moved by Commissioner Thielen, seconded by Commissioner Tobias. To adjourn the meeting. It is now, well, first of all, any discussion? All those in favor, say, you're gonna roll call again? Roll
Please.
call again.
Vice Chair Tobias,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Thielen,
I
And chair votes aye, motion's carried. Time is now 9:50.
Close to the